Welcome to another week of the Fearless Football Forecast. I'm your host, Ronnie Woodward. Sports editor Gentry has joined me. Tony's back from vacation, but he had ECU basketball priorities, so he's missing out. But it's an excusable one, so we're good. And me and Jim are here to knock it out anyway.
That's
so
right.
You know how we roll. Jim started off with a big game here, a rare in-county game at this time of the year. North Pitt at Farmville Central.
Yeah, we usually get a lot of those in-county games the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, but since this is, we only get 2 during the conference part of it, this one, and then of course we have Conley South Central coming up.
Yeah.
This is just kind of always an interesting game between these two. Always, pretty good rivalry. So, just definitely a game of interest. We're talking about a Farmville team that's really struggling right now, and a North Pitt team that's extremely hot. They've won 3 in a row. They're in 3rd place behind Tarboro and Kinston, the 2 teams you'd expect them to be behind, the traditional powers in that conference. So things are going really well for one team, not so much for the other.
Yeah. All right. Next game here. Hoggard travels to J.H. Rose in homecoming, and this is a game that, we say each week the Mid-Eastern Conference is going to shape up, but it hasn't yet. But this is a game where Hoggard and Rose are both 1-1 in the league. Homecoming for Rose. It's a big game where last week is a tough matchup. I don't like the fact that Laney threw for that many passing yards, but Hoggard's a little different. They're going to run it a little more. So this is a game that I think is going to be close either way. And Rose, I think they're a better matchup than they had last week against Laney. So let's go ahead and pick that game, then we'll go back to North Pitt and
I was going to say something we missed.
Let's pick Rose. I'm going to go with Hoggard, even though I just talked about how good Rose is. It's a better matchup. I think Hoggard and New Bern are kind of the cream of that conference.
Yeah.
I think Rose, New Hanover, Laney, those teams are kind of in the middle. I think Hoggard's too strong. I'm going with Hoggard there. What about you?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think this is going to be one of those 8-point games. I think I'm going to pick Hoggard right now. Just that one loss, so far this season really stands out.
Yeah.
We're talking about those Wilmington teams are particularly strong. It seems like every year. I think this will be a close game, but I think I'm going to pick Hoggard in this one.
Gotcha. All right, and now going back to the first game, which I skipped over on accident. Who are you going to pick with North Pitt and Farmville Central?
I think you got to pick North Pitt in this one just because Farmville Central's still winless on the season. North Pitt's playing really well right now. Even though Farmville's the home team, there'll be some extra incentive to win the game. Right now, North Pitt's playing really well. Trayvon Harris is just a scoring machine for them lately, and I think that just continues on Friday night.
Yeah, I do too. I think Farmville can keep this one close. I think I like Scott Gardner and his ability to kind of throw out the records. It's a rivalry game, that whole Super Bowl-ish type of thing, and play with emotion. But I think North Pitt's just too strong right now, as you said earlier, too hot. Trayvon Harris, I think they win, but I think Farmville can keep it close and maybe put up a good effort. Now getting back on track, Jim, preview North Duplin at Aiden Griffin.
Yeah, North Duplin's going to ready to run into a buzzsaw. Aiden Griffin's really rolling right now, all the way up to 6th in the rankings, coming out with a 16-0 win, road win. At Spring Creek. That's, I think, pretty telling. I don't care how bad Spring Creek is. When you beat another team 60-0, that's a statement game right there. And North Duplin's 4-3. They're coming off a win over Princeton. They, like I said, they're running into a really tough Aiden Griffin defense. And then when you consider the fact that the offense just put up 60. That's just a crazy combination.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, who are you going to pick in that one?
Take a guess. Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going Chargers on that one. I mean, how can you not pick them at this point?
I agree. I think North Duplin, as I kind of noted on the sheet here, is one of their tougher tests as far as in conference. But that being said, Aiden Griffin's too good. I think they roll through and get a big win there. Next game is a kind of a local matchup. Washington traveling to D.H. Conley. Conley got a huge win last week. We got to kind of give a shout out to them and touch on that. Really positioned themselves well in the Coastal Conference, knocking off West Carteret. And the thing that stands out is we know about Keith Clark. We know what they can do running, but Davis Kirkpatrick, the quarterback for Conley, has really stepped up. I've been impressed with him the couple of games that I've seen the Vikings play. I think that's given them the balance that they've kind of lacked earlier in the year. Washington's struggling a little bit. They've lost 2 in a row, so ideally Conley can get a win, but they lost by 1 point to Washington last year. So this is a game that I'm sure they have some motivation to try to win and get a victory. With that said, I'm going with the Vikings. I think it's a close game, but I think they're just better than Washington. They're playing at home. I like Conley there. What about you?
I think the Vikings blow them out at this point. By blowing them out, I think it's going to be a 20-point game or so. I just, Washington struggled offensively against White Oak a week ago.
Yep.
Conley hasn't really struggled offensively against anybody this year. I think that train just keeps rolling right now. Like you mentioned, we know Keith Clark's going to get his yards. He's going to get his touchdowns. But when they can add a passing attack to that as well, with the 14 running backs that come running out of the backfield at some point, it's just a dangerous combination. I don't think Washington's got the firepower to match up and keep up with Conley.
Yeah, I agree. Last game here, staying in the Coastal Conference, South Central travels to White Oak.
Yeah, it's South Central road woes, and they're 0-4 on the road, and they got to go on the road again.
Yeah.
This week, not an easy task. White Oak has struggled. They're 2-6, but you look at 3 of those losses, and they're 2 of the top 3 teams in the conference right now with Conley, Havelock, and West Carteret.
Yeah.
So I think that 2-6 may be. Record for White Oak may be a little off, and South Central's 3-5, but again, they have yet to win on the road, and have yet to get that offense clicking.
All right, who are you going to pick in that? Probably a close game either way.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one. I'm going back and forth on this. I'm still thinking that. Honestly, I was going to pick White Oak. I think South Central's going to figure it out this week. They can't keep losing on the road. At some point, they're going to get a win. Just before we started shooting, I said I probably was going to pick White Oak in this one. But the more I think about it, South Central has won 3 games this year.
Yeah.
Their defense is stout.
Yeah.
They can force a couple turnovers. They can win this game. I think they're going to go to White Oak and get the win.
Okay, I'm going to go with you. Kind of the same reasons. I think if they need to win, it's this week. This is a team that White Oak, I just think they're better than White Oak. I know they're struggling on the road. They just can't score, can't figure it out, or on the road. But they need this win big time. I'll go with South Central. I'm kind of going back and forth now, as you were too. I'll go with the Falcons in a close game. So we'll see what happens Friday. But there's our picks. There's the rundown. Check reflector.com. Grab Saturday's paper, and we'll see you next week.